Sweet Spirit, we just come to you full of heart, full of mind, in all of our awareness and all of our sensitivities. We come to be in your presence. We come to be in that place of safety and love and expansion. Thank you, Sweet Spirit, for all that we have, for all that we are experiencing, and all that we are learning about our world and ourselves. Today we welcome our friend and fellow lunatic as our main speaker, and we know that we will have a great message from Duane. We bless him, we bless all who hear this message, knowing that it brings us closer together in the oneness, our oneness with you and our oneness with one another. And so it is. And join me now in our blessing for children who are anywhere and everywhere on the planet. We love you. We bless you. And we appreciate you just the way you are. And we behold the Christ in you. Amen. Good morning. I am Reverend Donna Little, and this is Unity in the Olympics in Port Angeles, Washington. We welcome you to our Sunday celebration service. At this moment, our building is closed to gatherings, but our hearts and our minds are ever open to share light and love with you. We welcome you wherever you are, and thank you for joining us in this virtual service on Facebook and YouTube. We begin this special time with an affirmation of truth, the truth of our being, by reciting our declaration of faith, the very fundamental principle of the unity movement, as well as unity in the Olympics. There is only one power and one presence in the universe and in my life, God, the good, omnipotent. And feel that message, feel that affirmation in your heart. Hear it in your mind clearly as we say it one more time, this time for you. There is only one power and one presence in the universe and in my life, God, the good, omnipotent. The Daily Word is a bi-monthly publication of Unity at Unity Village. With subscribers from around the world, the Daily Word contains heart-centered articles, daily thoughts, and affirmations to comfort and guide us along our spiritual journey. Today's daily word is let go and let God. And the affirmation is, I let go and trust the divine in me. When faced with a decision to make, do my thoughts immediately turn to divine guidance, or do I seek God's help only when all else fails? Unity co-founder Charles Fillmore wrote that God loves to be used, and the more you use him, the more easily you use him, and the more pleasant his help becomes. God lives in us and expresses through me All of the attributes of God are as near as my next thought. I release my attachment to limited human reasoning. I center my mind and heart on the constant flow of divine love, wisdom, understanding, strength. In the divine flow, I find answers to questions. New possibilities for good emerge, and I move forward with confidence. The Bible reading for this day is from Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 29. From there you will seek the Lord your God, and you will find him if you search after him with all your heart and soul. Read with me one more time the affirmation for today. I let go and trust the divine in me. Our guest speaker for today is Duane Morris. Duane has been near to Unity teachings since 1987, when he was in the Unity San Luis Obispo Church in California. He's been active in UitO since 2013 and currently serves as a trustee. Duane has been a disciple in the study of Agni Yoga for some 38 years. Agni Yoga is referred to as the teaching of living ethics, the teaching of life, the teaching of light. I am so happy to hear about this practice that guides Duane's thinking and actions, which is a model for all of us at UitO.
Good morning, and I have something to tell you about today that involves my whole life. So in this lifetime, my path, according to my present memory, dates back to my teenage years when one of my best college buddies and I took a walk in the forest. He said something to me that made me think differently than I'd ever done before. So we were walking along and we were taking steps, and he says, "Watch your step." And I said, "Well, okay, why?" "Because you're stepping on live things." And I had never, ever thought about that before. What are you doing to live things? How was I changing the universe? Whoa, that was amazing. So over the course of the next 10 years, off and on, I would search for that something that allowed me to expand my understanding of the universe, from grains of sand to the distant stars. My reading and study included the Dalai Lama, Tibetan teachings, Edgar Cayce, Mahatma Gandhi, Khalil Gibran, St. Francis of Assisi, Vivekananda, Manly Pomo Hall, Alice Bailey, and Buddhist teachings. Then about when I was 30 years old, by way of my employer, after I'd gotten out of college, I was introduced to Ralph Houston. Ralph was a disciple of Nicholas Roerich. Mr. Houston lived in upstate New York and was holding twice weekly classes in Agni Yoga in San Francisco and Los Angeles on his yearly trips to the West Coast. I became a disciple in 1972 of Ralph Houston. He passed over in 1976. I have continued to study on my own to this day, veering off course once in a while for a few days, a few weeks, a few months, or a few years. What I did realize, though, my gurus told me, he said, every place you get to, you never lose that. You never lose that. So if you stop studying, you never regress. You always have the opportunity of going forward, but you never regress. So I've never discounted the fact that, once in a while I'll take a little vacation. But that's part of the teaching itself. Where does Agni Yoga come from? As a practical teaching, it's a combination of Bhakti Yoga, the yoga of impersonal love that Christ brought to the world, Karma Yoga, which is service, and Raja Yoga, the yoga of mind, the idea being that knowledge is of no value unless it's put to good use. You find wisdom and knowledge, not the kind you learn out of books, but that's found through enlightenment, through the God channel. Living ethics is a practical application of morality. Ethics in an individual's life. The concepts extend to family, society, state, and all aspects of world civilization to bring prosperity and happiness, while at the same time providing purpose and the ability to manage difficulties. The content of living ethics contains a practical and social social character oriented to all of life's dimensions. You can use it. It's made to use every day. Living ethics incorporates facets of Christianity and Buddhism. Living ethics has no ceremony or rite or ritual apart from meditation. It is solely conduct and ethos-based, setting as its goal every aspect of integrity for self-perfection, honesty, morality, sincerity, love, friendship, tolerance, assistance, sacrifice, and self-denial. Living ethics considers the law of reincarnation and the law of karma as key elements in the process of humanity's in oneself evolution. The term Agni Yoga was introduced to the Western public by the Roriks. Nicholas and Helena Rorik were born in Russia in the 1800s. They learned it in their expeditions and numerous crossings through Central Asia. The term means mergence with divine fire, or path to such mergence. Fire in this context is a flame-like state of the highest divine consciousness. Living ethics is an ideology and ethos whose goal is to perfect a person's integrity over a course of lifetimes, over many incarnations. The Roriks developed a teaching of Agni Yoga and brought them to Russia and other countries of Europe and America. And now the term Agni Yoga is pretty much associated with their names. The Roriks were quite a remarkable couple. He was a zealous painter, a traveler, an artist, a set designer, an archaeologist, a cultural preservationist, and spiritual guru. One of Nicholas Rorik's, and he was born in 1874 and lived until 1947. One of his contributions was his pact and banner for peace. In the 1930s, signed by our president in 1935, and also signed by 36 nations. The pact was for international protection in war and peace of monuments, institutions, and cultural treasures. It was often referred to as the Red Cross of culture. The banner of peace represents art, science, and religion as aspects of culture or that of past, present, and future, achievements of humanity guarded within a circle of eternity. The circles also have been referred to as spirit, guide, and master. Helena Roerich, 1879 to 1955, possessed a prophetic, visionary skill, the ability to converse with God. Records of these conversations over a period of 20 years, from 1920 to 1940, were collected in 14 volumes titled Living Ethics. In these is found, these is found a synthesis of ancient Eastern beliefs and modern Western thought, and a bridge between the spiritual and the scientific. Unlike other yogas, Agni Yoga is not a path of physical discipline or asceticism, but of practice in daily life. It is the yoga of fiery energy, of consciousness, of responsible, directed thought. Agni Yoga is a teaching that helps us to discover moral and spiritual guideposts by which to learn to govern your life and thus contribute to the common good. For this reason, Agni Yoga has been called living ethics. How does it compare with Unity's teachings? There are similarities and there are differences. The teachings were brought to the world during similar time periods, the mid-19th century to the mid-20th century. There is complete cooperation and unification between husband and wife in both sets. Charles and Myrtle Fillmauer and Nicholas and Helena Roerich were amazing in their collaboration, one with art, the other with science, one with theosophy. Unity and New Thought, the Unity magazine and Daily Word, have become a worldwide teaching with formal structure. There are some 600 churches in the world that are devoted to Unity teachings. Agni Yoga has little formal structure. There are no schools, no study courses, no classes. Similarly, the world, who are independent, those people who are independently involved in the study of the teaching, do sometimes establish contact with the Agni Yoga Society in New York. The teaching is absolutely free. The entire series, 14 volumes of Helena Roerich's Communication with God, plus separate volumes by Roerich, both the Roerichs, Nicholas and Helena, all 14 volumes plus additional volumes where they collaborated are available in 9 languages, downloadable files and printable texts on the Agni Yoga website at agniyoga.org. The path of progress through stages of self-development implies a lot of things. First of all, an ethical transformation of yourself. Ridding yourself of such vices as laziness, violence, capability of deceiving and betraying, selfishness, vindictiveness, arrogance. Now, as I say these, you're probably thinking, I think I might remember relating to some of those in my lifetime. Egoism. And there are also emotional states that are to be avoided. Anger, irritation, jealousy, feeling offended, using bodies of killed animals for food, and using alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs. There are a lot of positive qualities. Some of those that you want to use for your development are benevolence, compassion. Compassion is so important. Faithfulness to God, yielding oneself to God, aspiration, cognition of God into emergence with God, striving to help other beings, aspiration to creativity, selflessness, admiring beauty, control of one's own emotions, aspiration to knowledge, understanding, and the meaning of life, gratefulness as a quality of the soul, and last, but just as important as all the other ones, careful attitude towards your own health. It's needed for successful spiritual work and service. The books of the teaching compromise, or actually list a lot of different possibilities for talking and discussion. So I chose just a few, just to give you an example of some of the things that you can read in the books of the teaching. One of my favorites is compassion. And I'll quote quite a few of these instances because I think it's really important that you understand that they're written for daily life, not something in the future, not something in the past, but today. In compassion is buried the great pearl of secret knowledge. All bodhisattvas, all holy ones, all Maitreyas strive along this path. Not for all in the thorny way is a hardship. There are souls to whom a crown of thorns is sweeter than a kingly one, and a coarse garment more precious than the royal purple. Let the flame of your heart be alight with the fire of compassion.